You keep praying for a godly man, but somehow the ones who show up are wounded, emotionally unavailable, or still carrying the wreckage of their last situation. And you start wondering, is something wrong with me? Why does this keep happening to me? And the quiet thought you don't say out loud is this: maybe I am attracting this because I am broken too. Maybe my compassion is just a wound dressed up as a gift. Maybe I'm not discerning. Maybe I am just desperate. But that voice right there, that's not conviction. That's condemnation. And those two things are not the same. And we need to separate them right now. I want you to think about a lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't choose which ship comes towards it. It stands where God planted it, and it shines. Some ships see the light and steer towards safety. But some ships are sinking. They see the light too, not because they want guidance, but because they want rescue. And here's the problem. A lighthouse was never built to be a lifeboat. And when a lighthouse tries to become a lifeboat, it pulls itself off its foundation. You do not save the ship, you lose your position. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Look at those words, above all else. Not when it's convenient, not after you have already been hurt, above everything. God is telling you your heart is the source. Your peace, your purpose, your future family, everything flows from there. So, if you are handing your heart to someone who hasn't proven they can carry it, that's not love. That is access without evidence. And this is where many women of faith get confused. We think boundaries mean we are being cold. We think saying no to a broken man means we are not loving like Jesus. But Jesus didn't pour into every person who demanded his attention. In Mark chapter 1 verse 35, crowds were looking for him, people who genuinely needed healing, and he left. He withdrew to pray, not because he didn't care, but because he was led by purpose, not pressure. You are not called to pour into every man who brings you his emptiness. Some people are meant to be prayed for, not partnered with. There are 3 boundaries that can keep you away from broken men, and I think the third is by far the most important. Boundary 1. Let peace be the filter, not chemistry. Colossians chapter 3 verse 15 says, "Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts." The word rule in Greek means like an umpire calling the game. If the presence of the man you're with brings you anxiety, you're walking on eggshells, constantly overthinking, that's the umpire blowing the whistle. Chemistry can lie. Peace does not. Before you evaluate his potential, check your peace, because God speaks in peace. Chaos has a different author. But even when you feel that chaos, something inside you still wants to stay. And that's where the real trap begins. Boundary number 2. Stop confusing compassion with assignment. Just because your heart breaks for someone doesn't mean God told you to fix them. Empathy is a gift, but empathy without boundaries becomes entanglement. You start carrying their pain, their past, their emotional weight, and suddenly you are drowning in problems God never asked you to solve. That is not ministry. That's losing yourself. Not every broken man is your Boaz in progress. Some are simply not your assignment, and releasing them isn't cruelty, it's obedience. Now, those 2 boundaries protect you from what is in front of you. But the last one, this is the one that breaks the cycle completely. Because the real pattern isn't just about him. It's about what you respond to. Boundary 3. Stop responding to potential and start requiring pattern. Here's the truth many women never hear. The cycle doesn't break when you become more loving. The cycle breaks when you change what you respond to. A man tells you he's changing. Okay, but where's the fruit? Galatians 5 doesn't say the fruit of the Spirit is promises. It says love, patience, self-control. Fruit grows over time, not in a late-night apology. If his words go ahead of his actions, that is not growth. That's a pitch. And if you keep accepting pitches, it might be because somewhere inside you believe a pitch is all you deserve. But that's wound talking, not God. God never asked you to build a future on someone's potential. He asked you to watch their fruit. No fruit, no access. You are not a project God gave up on. You're a daughter he has been protecting. Every heartbreak you survived was him keeping you. He didn't let you drown. He's teaching you to swim in different waters. If this message spoke to you today, type in the comment, I am the lighthouse, not the lifeboat. That's your declaration. That's you telling the enemy and your old patterns that the cycle ends here, not because you became hard, but because you finally understand your worth in God's eyes. And if you know a woman who needs to hear this, share it with her. Sometimes the message someone needs is the one you were brave enough to send. Subscribe if you want more truths like this. We go deep here. No fluff. Just the word of God applied to the real battle you're fighting. God bless you.